For the past 15 years, I've been living in China, helping companies negotiate in the Chinese business environment. Now, we've all heard stories of the lucrative market here. With over 1 billion customers, there is much money to be made. And there is much money to be lost. So here are some key pieces of advice I give SMEs as they prepare to do business in China. Be patient and be persistent. Think about the risks and rewards of doing business in Australia. Then multiply both by 100. That's business in China. Expect that things will move slower and there will be a dozen frustrating challenges. Companies that want to rush in and get out quick will fail because if you're going to China, you are playing the long game. Companies which are persistent and patient and can weather the inevitable challenges, they are the ones that reap the big rewards. Be present. Success in China depends on having accurate information, and that means having boots on the ground. Because emails and phone calls and reading things on the internet can help, but frankly that just scratches the surface. Because seeing with your own eyes what's happening at your farm or your store or your factory is very, very different to reading a report about it. Sure, it can be expensive and troublesome to fly all the way to China. It is even more expensive and troublesome to fail due to inaccurate information. Also, being present allows you to build relationships with your Chinese counterparts. A simple drink in a Chinese tea house, or sandwiches in the boardroom, or a formal banquet with toasts and celebrations. These are all key ways of building trust with the other side, setting up an environment for mutual profit, and also getting information from your counterpart. You're not building a strong relationship with someone in China purely through email. Be curious about problems. If and when things go wrong, our first instinct is to think we're being cheated. Now, there are many reasons why a Chinese counterpart might not be fulfilling their side of the deal. And in my experience, blatant deception is relatively rare. It just doesn't make sense to invest the time and money in negotiating a deal with someone from another country who speaks another language, who's from another culture, if all I'm going to do is cheat them for short-term gain. Now, of course, we need to address the problems if and when they arise. But generally, the successful companies identify and rectify. They don't blame and litigate. Understand the different perceptions about contracts. From an Australian perspective, we want to be very clear about our rights and responsibilities, so we write everything down and set it in stone. From a Chinese perspective, a contract which is overly restrictive diminishes flexibility and chance of success. Because of course a contract will guide our actions, but success depends on being flexible in a hyper-dynamic market, not stuck by words written 9 months ago. Successful businesses negotiate contracts which are clear on key details, but also flexible enough to adapt to change. And be aware, it's very likely you will need to revisit your contract after it has been signed. Approach these contract revisits as an opportunity to refine the agreement for mutual profit, and not necessarily as a reason to blow up the deal.